Namaste. Myself, CA.Pramod Jain, and I have been receiving a lot of queries on the specified financial transactions Form 61A, which is to be filed by this 31st May 2018. Today itself, I made a presentation, and I'm using that to share my views today for the benefit of all. You know, this Form 61A, which was amended with effect from assessment year 17-18, it is to be filed for the certain transactions which have been specified under section 285BA of the Income Tax Act. And the related rule is Rule 114E and not 114B, which is required for the purpose of quoting of PAN. Now this Rule 114E is basically containing around 13 transactions, and if those transactions are recorded by the reporting entity, यानी कि उस ट्रांजैक्शंस को एंटर किया है किसी असेसी ने, किसी पर्सन ने या किसी रिपोर्टिंग एंटिटी ने, ओनली दोज पर्सन हैव टू फाइल द फॉर्म 61A by 31st May, which is the current year, is for the March 18 is 31st May 2018. What are those transactions? Those transactions have been given under Rule 114E, and those transactions are, if we talk about for say, in this case, if you see the reporting person, the banks, they have to report if anyone purchases the pay order, the bank draft of rupees 10 lakhs or more in a financial year. In that case, the bank would report this statement of financial transactions in Form 61A to the CBDT. And the person who has purchased these bank drafts, they don't have to file. Only the banker, the reporting purpose, they have to file. Similarly, for the purpose of this cash purchase of instruments, the bank will have to file. And in case of a current account where the cash deposits or cash withdrawals, if that exceed 50 lakh rupees in a year in an aggregate, aggregate means cash deposit separate and cash withdrawal separate. We don't have to club it. And if that exceeds, then the bank will report in Form 61A to the CBDT. The person who is depositing the money or withdrawing the money, he doesn't have to do it. The next transactions are receipt for acquiring bonds or debentures by any company institutions. So if any company is issuing any bond or debenture to a single person for more than rupees 10 lakh in a year, in that case, that company is to file this Form 61A for this transaction. Similarly, this point related to the issue of shares, the companies. In case a company is issuing any shares, allotting any shares to any person, single person for more than rupees 10 lakh rupees or more to a single person in a financial year, in that case, that company will have to file Form 61A. Now, suppose there is a company who has issued certain shares to a foreign company, to its holding company, 100% of its shares. And the single amount, say suppose it is issued for 1 crore rupees, that company has to file Form 61. Or as a company, private company, it has issued right issue or a private placement or a preferential issue. Single person, 10 lakh rupees in a year. In that case, it has to file this Form 61A. No other company will have to file. So please check if during financial year 17-18, if the company has issued those shares, allotted those shares, even the subscription money would be covered out here. Subscription to a single person. In that case also the company will have to file. In the case of listed companies, the another condition is if they buy back from other than the stock exchange. If it is the buyback in case of if it is buyback other than in the open market, in that case, that listed company will have to file this Form 61A. Only the listed companies, not the other companies who have done the buyback. Then the next transaction is for the mutual funds. If any person has acquired the mutual funds of 10 lakh rupees or more, then the mutual fund company or the entity, they would have to file the Form 61A. Not the person who is investing again. And in this case, the switchover is not to be taken into case. Only the new acquisition has to be taken into case. The authorized dealer, they have to file this Form 61A if they have acquired those if they have sold the foreign currency to any person for aggregating rupees 10 lakhs or more. 10 lakhs or more in a current financial year, in that case, they have to pay. Right? In case of a registrar, if any person is purchasing any immovable property and registering with the registrar, and then the registrar, in case the immovable property value is 30 lakh rupees or more, including the 50C value. 50C value was not there earlier, but it has come from the last assessment year itself. If the suppose the transaction value is at 25 lakhs, but the circle rate is 30 lakhs. In this case, because the 50C value is circle rate, the registrar would report this transaction, file this transaction with the in Form 61A to the Income Tax Department. Now, the most controversial transactions for all normal assessees is the receipt of cash payment of rupees 2 lakh for sale by any person of goods or services of any nature other than the above items, and this is applicable if any person is liable to tax audit under section 44AB. Now, in this case, if there is no tax audit, that person is not required to file. If the person is, and it could be a company, individual, HEO, partnership firm, LLP, any entity who is having its accounts audited under section 44AB, that has to file this Form 61A only if this transaction is there, that the sale is there of rupees 2 lakhs and the receipt is there in the cash for 2 lakhs or more. We will understand this through few examples. The other two conditions was during the demonetization period, so this is not reportable right now. And that too also was reportable by the banks and the post office. Let us take the first case. A Private Limited, it issues the following invoices. On 1st April, it issues the invoice of 1 lakh rupees. On 1st May, it issues an invoice of 1.5 lakhs. And on 2nd of June, it issues an invoice of rupees 1 lakh. And the whole amount is received on 15 June 17, 3,50,000. Is this transaction reportable by A Private Limited? Considering that the A Private Limited is under tax audit, is it required? Some of you might be thinking yes, some of you might be thinking no. But the answer is, of course, no. Because a single invoice is not there of rupees 2 lakhs. The whole amount was received in a single day. Still, it is not reportable in Form 61A, though the penalty due to applicability of section 269 ST would be there. Right. Let us take another case. A firm ABC, it issues an invoice of rupees 3 lakhs and it receives 1.5 lakhs by check and the balance 1.5 by cash. Is this transaction reportable under SFT? Of course, everyone knows that it is not reportable because the cash received should be 2 lakh rupees and not the invoice. Let us take another case. XYZ Private Limited, it issues the following invoices. It issues an invoice on 1st of July, 2,50,000. Another invoice on 1st of August, 1.5 lakhs. And it receives certain amounts in cash as under. On 15th of June, it receives 1.5 lakhs. On 16th of August, it receives 1.5 lakhs. And on 10th of September, it receives 1 lakh. It doesn't receive on a single day. Now, is this transaction reportable under the Form 61A? And if yes, on which amount? The question would be, of course, either 2.5 lakhs or total 4 lakhs. Yes, the answer would be, it is reportable and only 2.5 lakhs. Though the amount was received not 2 lakh rupees on a single day, yet the single invoice was of rupees exceeding rupees 2 lakhs, and against that the amount was received in cash. Let us take another example. PQR Private Limited. It is a private limited company having turnover of rupees 80 lakhs. In the financial year 17-18, it issues an invoice of rupees 3 lakhs and receives the whole amount. The invoice is exceeding rupees 3 lakh rupees, and the cash is received for the whole amount 3 lakhs. Is this transaction reportable under Form 61? No. Why? Because this company is not under tax audit under section 44A. And please let it be very clear, even if the case is audited under section 44AB, due to the applicability of section 44AD or ADA, still that those entities would require to report this. Reporting, of course, we know it is annually on 31st May, Form 61A, and the transaction for demonetization, that was on 31st January. The biggest question which is being asked all over is nil Form 61A required to be filed mandatorily? It always comes if there is any reportable transaction. If the transaction has been recorded by that person, in that case only it is mandatory. Otherwise, it is not mandatory. Otherwise, it is not mandatory. Another question which is going on in the social media is that preliminary response to Form 61A mandatory? The preliminary response is, again, there is a procedure which has been started by the CBDT through its various rules. This preliminary response is again still not part of that act which says that even if the reportable entity is not having a specified financial transaction, it has to file Form 61A. No, it doesn't have to file Form 61A, and neither the preliminary response is mandatory. So please take care that in such cases also this response is also not mandatory. You may file, but it is not mandatory. Non-filing will not result in any penalty. The penalty for this not filing Form 61A, if you are having a reportable transaction, which was up to assessment year 17-18, 100 rupees per day, which is increased from the assessment year 18-19 to 500 rupees per day. However, if a notice is being received to file the Form 61A, even if you have not entered into the specified financial transactions, and if the notice is received, then you should file it within 30 days. If you don't file, then the penalty, which was earlier for the assessment year 17-18, 500 rupees per day, that has been increased to 1000 rupees per day. So the situation goes that if you don't have any specified financial transactions, no need to file. But if a notice comes, then you should file even if it is nil. So please take care that if your assessee or your company or your entity is having such transactions, then you have to file Form 61A. Otherwise, it is not mandatory. If you file nil, no issues. If you don't file, still no issue. Penalty would be only if you are having the transaction and then not filing. This presentation would be available on this website expertspanel.in. The presentation which I made today, and thank you so much for the patient hearing. Thank you.